It's like I have to wonder if these journalists have the memory of a goldfish or if it's on purpose.
Well, it's this whole thing with John Roberts the other day when John Roberts is like, look, can you say now he's talking to the press secretary, and the press secretary is basically she can't make a decision for Trump.
She doesn't dictate for the president.
She can't say, like, it's like, does Trump does he condemn it? And then she goes, yes, he definitively does. Instead, what she said was, here's multiple examples of the president condemning like the people you want to condemn. Here, and then she's like, oh, back in this date, he said this. And then he goes, but can you say right now that he condemns it? It's I just read you, like, how many times you could have him condemn it, like every hour on the hour, and it would never be good enough for these people.
I know, right?
So what people need to understand about Kayleigh McEnany, she doesn't speak for Trump. So when a journalist says, does Donald Trump right now condemn it?
Exactly.
She goes, let me read you a quote from the president. No, I want to know now. She can't be like, yes, I hereby, on behalf of the president, announce a quote for him from my mouth.
And instead, she's saying, this is when he said these things. These are the dates. Multiple times.
Oh, I'm so sick of this.
How many more times does he need to say it?
Every hour.
Does he? Yeah. Does he need to Does he need to do like a video?
Look,
and
this is going to help him. I think this absolutely is going to help him win. You know why?
But people still believe it. People,
yes.
But people
listen,
now think that he's still a racist, and he's still like the Proud Boys. The Proud Boys are not white supremacists.
I know
they're not white supremacists. So it's like, fine, you want to condemn them, whatever. Right?
There are a lot of things to be criticized, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I don't think that violence. Look, they seem like a lot of them seem like decent guys, right? That's fine, but I don't think that going down to a place to say, okay, well, there's going to be these there's going to be these protesters, so let's go down and see if some trouble happens.
Well, they don't. But so here, what they do is we're going to go to Portland and have a free speech rally or march. And it's like, you do know what's going to happen if you go to Portland, right? Well, we're allowed to do it. That's true, you are, but you do know what's going to happen if you go do that, right? Well, to be fair, I was very critical of them over the Portland thing, and then nothing happened.
Right.
But it's almost exclusively that Antifa starts fights with them. That's almost always how it happens. But the argument, I guess, is if you go to a place where you know a bunch of crazy people are going to show up and start fighting you, like at a certain point, like what you got to understand about car accidents is that failure to avoid an accident is actually your fault. So you're familiar with that, right? Do you know that? Yeah. Uh-huh. A lot of people don't realize this. They think if someone rear ends me, then it's their fault no matter what. Actually, that's not true. If there's a witness like that car was like down the street and this guy sat there and didn't move when this guy was coming forward,
right?
Like parked, like failure to avoid an accident can be your fault. But I guess the big challenge of the Proud Boys is just like, where do you draw the line in saying I won't go and have my rally because the hecklers veto? So there's a challenge there. Look, I don't want to go off on a big thing on the Proud Boys because we're talking about Trump and the journalist, and we got to finish the John Roberts thing. But they're not white supremacists. We can have a conversation about the morality of going to places like Portland where you know that left will act a fool, and the right for you to do it peacefully without having people attack you, for sure. But the John Roberts thing was funny because he's trying to get Kayleigh McEnany to issue a Trump quote live in real time with Trump not present, which she can't do.
Right.
And then when she said, let me read you the quotes from the president, and he's like, yeah, but what about now? And she goes, I can't do anything but read these things to you. And then he gets attacked on Twitter and got all triggered about it. Went on TV and he was like, I don't care. I just don't. It had to be asked. No, it didn't. It was asked over and over again. I'm so sick of it. But listen, the main point is it's going to help Trump. You know why? I understand. You're saying there are people who believe Trump's a racist and he won't denounce this stuff. Yeah, but those people weren't going to vote for Trump anyway. And I'd imagine a good portion of them know that the whole argument is BS and are just like, ooh, here's my chance to lie to convince more people that Trump's bad. But regular people sitting at home are probably like, what are you talking about? What's a Proud Boy? Is that like an LGBT? I don't know what they're talking about. This is ridiculous.
Well, now they hear Proud Boy, Trump won't announce the Proud Boys, so that must mean that they're bad.
Right. And now,
not everybody saw that segment on CNN where
Enrique Tarrio.
Yeah, it was one of the commentators was like, well, they're kind of like a fight club, kind of trolls.
Like,
they're not.
Club.
They say they're not white supremacists, and she wasn't trying to say like, well, they say they're not, but or they're a hate group. Well, Trump told them to stand by, so of course that they're bad.
I think Trump misspoke. I think he was.
Yeah, I think so.
I think he was flustered and he wouldn't shut up. Okay, so I know I said that and people were like, "Dude, Joe Biden was lying," and I'm like, I know, Joe Biden was lying, and then Trump was like, "Wrong, no," and like jumping in.
Two things can be this true at the same time.
Trump needs to let Joe Biden speak. You know why? Because he can't. The more Joe Biden speaks, the more he goes. And with Trump cutting him off, Joe was probably like, whew, thank you. How many gaffes does Joe Biden put out per minute? The more Trump speaks, the less gaffes from Joe Biden. There were several instances in that debate where Biden was like, 20 million, 19. Let him go for it. Trump can. Yes. Joe, speak more, please.
I want the White House to come out and say, look, it turns out that the president was feeling under the weather. And he just wasn't his old self. Like, he was just a little more, he just wanted to get in there, and he was just a little bit more triggered than normal. And that's it. And just say, normally he's not like this, because he's had good debates.
Yeah.
But you have to also remember that in the first debate with Hillary, he did not do great. He was off his game.
He was off his game this time too, for sure.
He definitely was off his game.
Yeah.
God, I remember
missed so many
tweeting. I was
cues.
like, "Come on, just like Trump needs to calm down." And it's true. And if there happens to be a second or third debate, and who knows at this point?
Yeah.
Who knows if there's even going to be a vice presidential debate? Lydia earlier was saying that maybe for like a national security reason, that you might not want to put. Mike Pence in a situation where he could be exposed.
That's a good point.
So, and it was a great point, and it makes a lot of sense. And I really do want to see a vice presidential debate, because I would like to see like a debate.
Yeah.
And Mike Pence he's really good on the debate stage.
I think he's going to demolish Kamala Harris.
I think so too.
And I know like it's cliche of Tim Pool to rag on the Democrats, but think about Kamala as she is so fake. She's just such a fake person wearing Tim's. Tupac's the greatest rapper alive. Lady, it's been 30 years. What are you talking about? Did she like Google, like she went to like a GeoCities website and
what is the best rapper alive?
Somehow she ends up on a website with like a gif of Macho Man Randy Savage doing like the peanut butter jelly dance, and there's like really crappy Comic Sans writing, and it's like Tupac's the best, and she's like, that's good enough for me. Remember when she like claimed to listen to rap that didn't come out when she was in college? Like, she is plastic. Now Mike Pence is a lot of things, but he's a politician. You know, he's a well, I don't know what the right word is, but a suit, a square. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean like he's a stodgy, normal, professional kind of down-tone kind of guy.
I mean, I think a lot of people know that already, because if you remember the first coronavirus briefings, you'd have Trump going on there. He's like, blah, 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 blah. And then Mike Pence comes on. He's like, and,
yeah, I know, right?
He was so calm, and you're just like, Mike Pence is looking very presidential right now.
Yeah, I feel better now.
Very presidential, and like I'm feeling calm now.
Yeah, exactly. It's true though.
Because you have this Dr. Birx, and they seem to get along. And I actually real quick at the coronavirus briefings at the beginning, I remember he was saying he was calling Dr. Fauci, but then he would call Dr. Birx, he'd say Deborah, and people are like, no, it's doctor. It's like it's a just because she's a woman, and you're like, no, because they're like, he calls Tony. He says he refers to Tony. You know, you're just not like watching the whole thing. You're just like watching that 5-second clip.
They're just finding something to pretend to be mad about.
Of course.
That's all it is, man.
Of course it is. But that's why I just remember that. It was crazy.
This is why I think this kind of stuff helps Trump. The John Roberts thing, the Jim Acosta thing, is because I tell you, man, there's probably a bunch of regular people who are like, there's no way you're actually mad. There's no way you're actually mad about this.
He was mad. I don't know why.
No,
he was mad.
I mean about like he called. The guy saying he called.
Oh, John Roberts was mad.
No, I'm talking about the people who are like, he called Dr. Birx Deborah.
Oh,
there's going to be some like suburban housewife sitting there with her husband. He's going to get back from work and she's going to be like, who cares? What does that have to do with anything? My husband's losing his job because of the pandemic, and we need to know what we're going to do with our kids.
Well, I will definitely say that when it comes to those dumb little things, especially this, Trump didn't, like, he's condemned it 1 billion times, but he hasn't done it yet, or he won't do it now. And you're like, do you think he changed his mind?
Right. There was like a period where like Trump woke up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat, like, I was wrong to denounce these groups 57 times.
Oh my goodness. What was I thinking? They're good people on both sides.
Oh gosh.
But I think a lot of I just did a man in the street interview. I went out to California of all places, and there were people like when you talk to the Biden people, they're like, "Well, I'm voting for Biden because I want to get rid of Trump." But all of the Trump people were like, "He's being treated unfairly. He's condemned it multiple times." Like they know what they like about Trump.
Right.
They're like, he's done this, he's done this, he's done this. So I think that the majority of Trump supporters know that that whole condemning, not condemning
it's just
thing
fake news.
is just BS.
Right.
And the more the media pushes it, the more that his base will get riled up about it.
Right.
And it's almost like you're helping him get elected again.
Look, this is the point. If the Democrats and the media just like took a second to breathe and they said, how about we nominate someone who's just calm, a populist, moderate, kind of like Trump, but not as bombastic and kind of ill-tempered, they would win. And people would be like, look, Donald Trump's talking about that border security, but so is, John Jackson. John Jackson doesn't have a potty mouth. You know what I mean? Look, I understand a lot of Trump supporters say, who cares if Trump talks this way? And I know a lot of them say they like that he talks this way.
To a point, yeah.
But I've been in Ubers, I've been to restaurants, and I hear it all the time from people who say they're voting for Trump that they wish he wouldn't talk this way.
We all say that.
Yeah.
There are some people who they're laughing and they love it. It's hilarious and they like it.
But I don't think that they're into politics as much. No.
Those
are like the diehards.
Right? There's Trump.
People that like I would not call myself like a super. I love Trump. I respect him. I respect the fact that he's doing all the things he said he was gonna do, which is one of the reasons why the left is so freaked out.
These peace agreements,
he's actually getting things done. Oh my God, that peace agreement is so awesome.
3 peace agreements, mind you, sir.
And you can I'm all over the place here, but that kind of thing. Oh, but he's a white supremacist. He's a racist.
Yeah,
you're like no. You think he would care? Do you think he's just doing it for the Nobel Prize because he's not going to win it?
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. So come back to check us out when we go live. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and we are also available on all podcast platforms for free if you want to listen to us there. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you all next time.